I am Brayon Brockington, the host of the Resettled Project. The Resettled Project is my baby, and I am so excited to have Miss. First of all, I'm going to say the entire name. Okay, I'm going to say the entire name. We have the phenomenal doctor. Okay, y'all, because I got smart friends. Okay, the Dr. Tiffany Lachelle. Am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, Tiffany Lachelle. Let me tell you something. I met Tiffany in Casablanca.
Mm-hmm.
I met Tiffany in Casablanca in 2000. And mind your business, y'all don't need to know all of that
Because
information.
that was gonna challenge me too. I'm like, ooh, when was it?
I think it was either I think it was either 10 or 11, something like that. 2010 or 11, probably 10,
Okay.
something like that.
It was
And
10. It was
I met
10.
you through a mutual friend,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Oh, she's fun. That's gonna be my new friend." I remember going back and telling BF number two and number three. I was like, "Oh, I met some more friends," because I did not have a lot of friends in Morocco that first year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
And so
crazy.
it
That's
got to,
bringing up some memories.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. So we have the phenomenal uh, Tiffany. Sorry, I want to make sure I have everything right. Yes, all right. So we have the amazing, phenomenal Tiffany Lachelle Smith.
Lachelle.
I want to make sure I'm saying it right. And she
Mm-hmm.
is a doctor, an educator. She is also a business owner, and she is also my friend. I am so happy she is here. Welcome,
Me too.
Tiffany.
Oh, my
This is
dear
amazing to have.
Brockington.
Let me tell you something. Everybody teases me about that last name, Brockington.
I know, it's so British. I have plenty of American British friends.
Oh my goodness. So, yes, we have history. We've both experienced living abroad. And actually, Tiffany is abroad now. You want to tell us where you are in the world?
Yes, well, as it is beautiful and sunny and hot as heck as I'm looking out the window, I am actually checking in from Dubai. I'm in Dubai now. A really good
Okay.
friend of mine has traveled to the States, so I'm plant sitting to make sure her babies
Oh,
don't die. But I only came for a couple of days. So I live in Ras Al-Khaimah, which is about an hour outside of Dubai, most northern emirate before you get to Oman. So I'm in the United Arab Emirates.
how long have you been there?
Yeah, so story time.
Dive
And
right on
that's
into it.
the I know, because that's the most beautiful thing. So James Baldwin, who everybody knows as the Black expat, I have to start the conversation with him because he described himself as a transatlantic commuter. And basically, he wanted to give homage to the fact that he didn't necessarily live outside of the States, but he would commute between different countries and back to the States.
Hmm.
So, with my experience, I've taken on this phrase of a transnational commuter because it's a little bit of like these temporary spaces. So I'm living here for a couple of years and then I'll go home, or I
Right.
live here for a couple of months and then I'll go home, and I'll live here. So that's basically what my experience here in the UAE has been like. Um, After our experience in Morocco, which was 9 to 11, I think 9, 10, 10, 11. Yeah, because I
Right.
did 2 years in Morocco. And then directly after Morocco was done, I went to Abu Dhabi. So my background is in teaching. I taught here in Abu Dhabi for 2.5 years. And then I eventually quit my job in the middle of the school year and decided to go back home. So once I got home, I pursued my PhD program, which lasted 6 years. But even in the midst of that, I came back here. So I was here for a couple of months for a pilot study. When I started doing my data collection, I came back for over a year. Finally went back and finished up my program. And then recently I moved back again. So I'm here in Ras Al Khaimah, And June 20th marked a year in the position that I'm in now. So your girl has been like really commuting back and forth.
You in your bio, you have that you are a transatlantic commuter, and that is exactly what you just explained as a
Yeah,
transatlantic
back and
commuter.
forth, back and forth. Since 2009, Bree, like this has been a lifestyle, you know? And I don't want to
I
call it like luggage living, but yeah, always mobile.
Is that so? I often, when I'm talking to people and I'm telling them about, I don't necessarily describe it as transatlantic commuting, but I like that, and I'm probably going to use it from now on. And I'm gonna always say, I got that from Dr. Tiffany.
No, no, you got that from James Baldwin. It wasn't me.
I got it from you, and she got it from him. But no, when I'm explaining, just the experiences that I've had, I get the pushback on, doesn't that feel strange? Doesn't that feel weird to like not have your feet planted solid in a particular place? And I'm like, well, they are planted.
Yeah,
They're planted in my goal. They're planted in where I'm trying to go and the things that I want to accomplish. Might not be planted in a specific space, but they're
amen.
planted in who I am and what it is that I want to do. So I love that you talk about how you were here, and then a couple of months you were there, and then a couple of years you did here, and then a couple of years you went home. Because you saying that you went home in the middle of the school year, number one, that's new for me. I did not know that. And I didn't know the
Quit.
program took a full 6 years. But because of the lifestyle, the opportunities that you had in the middle of doing your program, to me, it did not seem like a full 6 years here in the States, because I remember you did something in Paris, and then you did something in Ghana, and then you did do something,
Yes,
you went back to the UAE. So it didn't feel like that. So you still found a way to keep mobile even in
yes.
accomplishing that big goal. Can you talk about like um how did getting your PhD affect your travel? Like how did those two things not like collide and just say, okay, I need to do one
Yeah,
over the other?
yeah. See, it's a beautiful question because it's only now, Bree, that I'm even reflecting on my life because I feel like for the longest time I've just been living. And
Okay.
exactly what you said when folks are like, "Oh, how do you do this? How do you do this?" It's so normal that I don't even think about it anymore. Like
Yeah.
what was abnormal was being at home in my hometown for a little over a year. And I'm like, "Ooh, I don't want to be here," you know? So it was, when I think about my life in reflection for specifically this time that I've been able to create this life commuting, um, the core, the foundation to who I am is education. And education, whether it is me being a student in someone else's classroom, whether
Okay.
it's me being a teacher in front of a classroom, whether
Hmm.
it's me, pursuing a degree or a course or an opportunity to come together with other scholars to write or, brainstorm, whatever it is, like the foundation of who I am is education.
Hmm.
So, kind of thinking about like this idea of the PhD and then life being separate, there was no detachment. Like
Okay.
everything just weaved together.
Yeah.
And I think one of the beautiful things about pursuing the PhD was I'm a very spiritual person, so I truly believe in intuition. I believe in, the universe always conspiring for my good. And when I decided to apply for the PhD program, I I'm a back up just for a second. I quit my job with nothing in place, Bree. It was just like it is time, right? It was the best school year of my entire career, and I was just like, I don't want to be here anymore. So I'm in Abu Dhabi, getting ready to turn 30, and I was like, I got to go home. And I'm realizing now, actually last night in the middle of some tears because I'm dealing with a situation right now, I was like, you're such an emotional, impulsive decision maker. I'm not going to sit and reflect. I'm not going to sit and just kind of ruminate and all the stuff. I'm making a decision. And I made the decision to quit. And I quit with nothing in place. So when I got home, that's when I decided to apply for the PhD program. And let me tell you, the universe, it wasn't me quitting, it was me being set up for what was next because I got accepted into that dang PhD program by January. I went home in December, got accepted in the PhD program in January. And I'm saying that to say that the next 6 years was just exactly what you're saying. You didn't even look like a student because you were doing so much. So many folks look at PhD programs like, oh, I'm going to be broke. I'm not going to, be able to do this. I have to quit,
Yeah.
especially full time. And I was full time. But when I tell you I was swimming in opportunities, in funding, in money, I mean, it was some of the things that I had the experience to do, I was like, I got more money not working than what I would get working, applying for grants and fellowships and scholarships and international internships. Like I'm all over. So it was completely a full experience. And it wasn't just sitting in a classroom. It was like the world again was my
Yeah.
classroom.
Yeah.
So there's
I,
no, detaching. It was all together.
I'm just gonna say, Lord, I see what you're doing for others. I see what you're doing for others. That's all I'm gonna say. I,
Look,
I,
blessings,
I,
blessings, blessings.
I love that you say that things just kind of aligned. It was not that you forced it. This is a goal. This is something that you've wanted to do. You've wanted to live the lifestyle that you live right now. But what was the first, like when you were deciding that I want to go to Morocco, if that was your very first, I'm not certain if that was your very first stop, but deciding to become an international teacher, like was that the goal or was it just, you know what, I'm going to try something out and we're just going to see if this works or
Okay,
if I like
okay. I let's see. So no, Morocco was not my first stop. I studied abroad during my junior year in university, and what was significant about this study abroad trip was that it was South Africa. And in South Africa, the default is Black, right? So
it.
you got Black folks on billboards, you got Black folks on money, you got Black folks in like prestigious positions. You go into the store, everybody Black, hair care products, food products, Black people.
Mm-hmm.
So during my study abroad trip, I had this like these competing narratives as far as like what America was, what the world was, in America, being Black means you're the minority, you're oppressed, there's not many opportunities, like all of these very negative deficit type of thinking about Black folks. And then in South Africa, what was significant about my experience was just seeing the default of Black, but then also being mistaken for South African. So
Mm-hmm.
I got folks, and I had my micro braids, all that stuff. So I got so many people coming to me speaking in isiZulu. And I'm
Okay.
like, oh no, I'm not South African. I'm American. In America, I'm not even American, right? In America, I'm just a Black person. So having to identify as an American and having to identify with language and saying, I don't speak Zulu, I only speak English. Like those were things that had never come out of my mouth because in
Right.
America, why would I ever say that? So basically, the experience in a whole was, absolutely beautiful, brought up some interesting things in my life. And it was just like, I had finally, it was my first experience being bit by the bug. And during that time, that was 2007 when I studied abroad. In university, my background is early childhood education. So in university, there were no conversations about, do you want to teach abroad?
Mm.
There were those little opportunities where you teach English in China or in South Korea, for a summer
Yeah.
type thing. And that wasn't interesting to me. But that South African experience really like this bug was like, you have to get back into the world. And I didn't know how. I had no like understanding as far as how I was going to get back abroad or to do what.
Right.
So I made the decision that I wanted to go to the Peace Corps, and I started applying for the Peace Corps, which I've met folks that have served and did the Peace Corps. Thank you, Lord, that that did not work out because I didn't want to be living in nobody's backyard. Like,
I wanted to do Peace Corps so bad, and that is the exact reason why it was just so hard to pull the trigger on doing it because I was just like, I don't want to live in a host family. I that some even though host families only last for a particular amount of time, depending on where you get placed, it was just something that I knew I didn't want. That I was like, I want to do Peace Corps so bad, but I do not want a host family. I just don't.
and that's the thing. I wanted to get abroad, right? And wherever, because I did apply and it got to the point, Bree, where they were telling me that I was going to be placed in the United Federation of Micronesia. I always
Okay.
forget how to say that country.
Yeah.
But I
Mhm.
got so far into the application process and eventually got a job
Yeah.
before I finished it. So got the job. I'm back at home. I'm from Alton, Illinois. I'm working in Edwardsville, Illinois, and I just kind of fell into the teaching profession. Um, but I just I knew I didn't, the whole teaching thing, I knew when I was finishing up the degree that I didn't want to be in the American system, I'll say. And that's exactly where I went. Second year, ended up as the only Black teacher at an all white school in the sticks of Edwardsville,
Mhm.
Morrow, Illinois. Stripped my life away for a whole year. But, to kind of shorten up the story, I met this young woman, Patty, who I just found out is in India. So I would love to connect with her very soon. But she's the one that exposed me to teaching abroad. And her mother was a principal in Kuwait. She was able to put me in contact with some of the teachers at her mother's schools. So that is what opened up my, understanding that there's these American and international and local schools abroad. The teaching credentials that I have, would make me eligible to apply for the positions. And I did. So I don't know. It wasn't necessarily, and even though I'm in education and education is foundational to my, entire being, it's not the classroom or the teaching. It's not the job that has motivated me. It's the idea of mobility. Ooh, and that's deep. Because the
Absolutely.
only reason I went to college was because I wanted to leave home. So it's like the destinations that I could experience through education, I guess.
So with the idea of mobility and with having this opportunity, what would you say have been the benefits of living this type of lifestyle?
This conversation, like, literally, we are not sitting here reviewing a book, reviewing someone else's story. Like we are truly blessed to be able to have a story to tell that is full and rich and, just amazing experiences that, like you said with whoever it was who said it, yeah, how is it that you can do that? And in our mind, it's like, do what? I ain't did nothing, you know? And for me, I've traveled to 37 countries. I've lived in places and gone into rooms where, yes, I'm the only Black woman. Yes, I'm the only American. Yes, I'm the only one with big hair, but I belong here. And there's a reason for me to be here, you
That's
know?
it. That's it.
Yeah. And it's
Yes.
it's just the whole thing. Like I love the world. I literally love the world. And the
Yes.
stage that I'm in right now, I
Yes.
say that I used to travel. And it's unfortunate because, like I said before, this new position, I've only been in it for a year, but because of the just dynamics of the job and all this stuff, I haven't been able to leisure travel. I've traveled for work, which is completely different from leisure traveling.
Mm-hmm.
But I just went home in June to visit
Mm-hmm.
my family, and my sister and I took a trip to Jamaica. And I've been to Jamaica before, Bree, so it wasn't even like I was going to another country. I had already gone. Bree, when I tell you I forgot what it feels like to travel, like
Yep.
to wake up and see blue water and, to smell somebody else's air, to put my feet in somebody else's soil, to hear these beautiful Jamaican accents. Like, I'm like, oh, everything Irish. Like, just and my sister, it was our first international trip together. She was on her best behavior. Like, we weren't even worried about each other. We were just having two beautiful experiences
Yeah.
alongside each other.
Yeah.
And girl, I need that.
But that's the beauty of it. And I understand that whole like not being in a season of travel. And you feel a way when you're used to being able to just like, pick a place on the map and say, hey, I want to go there and see what it's like for a weekend.
Yeah.
But when you get kind of into your career and transitions and building a life where you are, things kind of slow down and transition a little bit. And in talking about the core of the Resettle project, talking about different experiences of choosing to resettle in a place away from your home. How are you managing to build a life where you are now? Or do you see it as this is just a stop until the next adventure?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's okay. So where I am right now, and I'll be completely transparent, I'm 37.
Mm-hmm.
I am not married. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have children. And these are things that I still want to experience in my life. I have obtained a terminal degree. If I want to continue to, pursue courses, go back, for another doctorate, all that stuff, I can. But I just feel like where I am in life right now, my entire life has been given to my professional career. And unfortunately, you hear these narratives like the sacrifice of, pursuing your career first, or you'll hear folks like, well, I wish I would have pursued my career first because now I have kids and I have this and I have responsibilities. So I am on the end of the spectrum where I can say that my life is full. I feel like I'm
Mm-hmm.
still youthful, I'm still young.
Right.
Um, and now I want to focus on my personal. I want to
Yes.
be married. I want kids. I'm having twins. So I want my twins, and I'm saying all that to say where I am right now, I guess it's embedded that every place is just a stop, right? There is no
Come
destination because
on,
Ras
talk to me.
Al-Khaimah, Ras Al-Khaimah and I intentionally wanted to live in Ras Al Khaimah. So, everybody's idea about the UAE is here in Dubai, and
Yeah.
I don't do Dubai. I don't do Dubai. I will come, do what I need to do, and I will
Yeah.
go home because this is not home. It just feels like so much. And Abu Dhabi was great, but in Ras Al Khaimah, literally looking outside of my bedroom window, I see mountains. I see mangroves. On the other, in my living room, I see the Arabian Sea. I'm on the 19th floor. Like, I am exactly where I need to be right now. I imagine, fulfilling this contract for 3 years, but I don't imagine staying here. Now, if my husband is here and we get some roots, that's fine, or if I meet someone, from Switzerland and I got to pick up and move to Switzerland because I love this man and he
Right.
needs me there, I would do that too. But I think that's the beautiful thing. Like, I don't have any limitations as far as, where what turns my life can go in. But I honestly feel like I have given a lot to my professional space, and now I want to really start investing in the personal, and not even just like completely detaching, but somehow connecting them together.
Right.
um but a vulnerable way of saying that my life is still being created and I don't know what it's gonna be.
So does that make, because I love it. I find that everything that you just said sounds so beautiful to me, because I promise you, either I've wanted to express it that way and just not really had the words to say it in that manner. Like everything is still in motion. And I love how you
Yeah.
call out the things that you want, where you are and what you have right now. I remember 5 and 6 years ago you talking about that thing. So seeing you walk in it and now understanding how you call things into your life. And I've seen your vision board wall and all. So it's
Amen.
amazing to see that you are still, you're not set in like, this is as much as I can do, this is as far as I can go, I've reached the top of education, I'm living in the place that most people want to travel to for vacation and for fun, and but like you're like, no, there's
Amen.
more. There's more for me to see, there's more for me to do, there's more for me to have. And I know that these things, I will have these things. It's very prophetic. I love that you have that sense of self and being grounded. And it's, yes, about the travel, but it's really about your journey.
Amen. Amen. And even, I mean, when you say the word more, that is definitely what I'm saying. But I also want to, just kind of reverse the direction. So not
Okay.
more in the sense of receiving more, but more in the sense of like going deeper. Because I
Okay.
think also at this stage of life, it's not about like accumulating more, it's about like I don't know, like spiritual, like more in-depth experiences, when an experience is more valuable than a bag.
Yeah.
Or
For life.
hearing
Like,
some, yeah, yeah. Hearing somebody, say, "Oh, I've never done this before," and it's just a conversation, right? Somebody saying that I've never been given space to say what I'm going through or how I'm feeling or I yeah, and I've been experiencing some of those things and I'm like, okay, I like this more than the, always pursuing more, more, more. It's like, well, no, more is actually in the other direction now where you can sit down like this and have these deep
right.
conversations that are so valuable to the point where, somebody's whole life can be changed based off of words, and how
Correct.
you make them feel. So I think that's the thing, like complete tangent, but I think it's relevant.
Okay. We love tangent. Go.
Okay. I was listening to Auntie Oprah this morning, and like I said, I've been going through this thing myself, and I just needed words. I needed somebody to be in this experience with me. So there's these motivational talks, plenty of them on YouTube. And, I'm not looking for anything. I'm just like, that intuition is like, just play that one and no questions. I ain't reading captions or nothing. I'm just hitting play. So, and the one that I listened to this morning, Auntie Oprah is basically like, she got to a point where the voice, right? Her personality is a gift, and her basically like realizing that I am not my personality. If I'm a spirit having a human experience, I am not my personality. It's a gift. And when she realized that her personality was something that she could gift to other people, she shifted her personality into this idea of service. So, how can I use this personality, which is detached from me, right? Because I'm the spirit, and basically influence people's lives to the point where, everywhere, oh, you changed my life, you changed my life. And I was like, I've never thought about changing somebody's life through personality or words or like allowing that to be service because you feel like you always have to say something or do something. But it just completely like changed my mind. So that's that more that I'm talking about, like when you can internally start to not just talk about your experiences or not just, flex for the gram, but more so let me become deeper by being deeper with you,
Absolutely
I don't know. It's
important.
going everywhere.
No, like to others. I mean, I feel like that is a part of the Resettle project, but also I feel like that's a part of a good segue into you talking about abroad in education, because the wealth of information that you have on your podcast is like, if you want to do education abroad, she has mapped out the entire game plan and has a slew of resources and people that you can contact and say, hey, I heard this is what you did. That's exactly what I want to do. Can we connect? You are doing that.
Amen.
You absolutely
Amen.
exactly that. That is the deeper part. You are a resource. So you are providing a service. You're educating with service. You are providing an avenue for people to come and, number one, listen to an educated Black woman.
Amen. Amen.
To an educated, well-traveled Black woman who has connected with people from all spectrums of life, and they've been able to like be guests on your show and provide their insight. They've taken different paths that you've taken, but it
Yeah.
all still led to being able to meet and connect and share experience. um so I love the beauty in that. So you're definitely well on your way.
Amen.
with, with
And look, even before we started recording, I told you now the universe is pushing on me, talk about now you need to record yourself and do the videos. Okay.
I'm here for it, and I'm gonna be watching. You already know. I'm on the gram way more than I need to be. I'm on YouTube way more than I need to be. But no, I wanted to ask, with all of the positiveness, with everything positive and great and good that's going for you, and you navigating this untraditional career path and life. Do you receive any opposition to how you decide to navigate your life? And if you do, how do you how do you not internalize it? And I'm asking for me, for anybody who may see this later on. I'm asking for me, but I'm wondering if anybody else has that issue, because I have so many people like throwing things like, if you do this, this is not going to happen for you. And if you go abroad again, and you're going to miss out on this part of life. Like, do you have a way that you kind of quiet that noise?
After the tears. After the tears, then I start to address it. Wow. So it's a big question, Brie, because the honest truth is um I have transitioned, another transition. And basically, I've spent over a decade in the classroom, whether it's higher ed, K through 12, but definitely like these formal education settings. And
Mm-hmm.
now I have transitioned over to government, which basically I work for this education policy. It's a foundation, but it focuses on education policy, social policies, a whole bunch of different pillars. But all of that to say, it has been a huge transition from, I mean, something as simple as here we are in July and I'm working. If I was in the classroom, oh, it's summer break. Look,
Let's talk about
okay,
let's
and that's simple. That is simple, but what I'm realizing is that I my time is somebody else's.
Yes.
This whole idea of delegation, right? Like I know it has to be done. I know it's necessary. I know, especially when and regardless if it's an educational institution, if it's a company, whatever it is, there is a mission and a vision. There are things that need to be done to address and accomplish this mission and vision. So tasks have to be delegated. I don't want to be delegated to. I want to tell you what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I'm going to do it, who I'm going to delegate to. So it's humbling
Yes.
and hard and amazing and fulfilling all at the same time because my life is full. So I have a beautiful, personal life over here. And then I have a challenging professional life over here, but they balance each other in ways that it's like you're learning something completely new.
Yeah.
And because I've always been this person over here, I have to develop into this person, right? I'm a whole new person now, or at least pieces of me is new. So
They're not
now, wait, say it again. Say it again.
talking to me right now.
That's exactly why I'm saying, like, is it after the tears, before the tears? How do you address it? Because at the end of the day, all we're doing is living. Like, and when with living, I want to live with a capital L. Like, life is lifing all the way. And at the same time, when things get hard, I can turn around and walk away.
Yeah.
It's not the best, but I've been referred to as a flight risk multiple times, whether it's me leaving a job, leaving a relationship, leaving, something. It's like, I'm gone.
You gotta if you gotta
But
go, you go.
I
I'm just
gotta go, or at least give me a reason to stay. So now with this job in particular, it's the first time that I'm truly combating. I'm not going anywhere, and I have to find the things that like encourage me to stay. I have to find that. So whether it's beautiful relationships with my colleagues, whether it's certain projects that are just so amazing, whether it's the networking and, being up to call up to somebody and being like, we're organizing this conference, you got a budget line. Okay, I'm gonna send this over, like I have to learn who Tiffany is in this new role and in this new, field.
right.
So it's hard and it's amazing at the same time. But this humility and ego thing, I'm like, I'm Dr. Tiffany. Okay, Tiffany, sit down.
Come
Because you still got a
on.
lot to learn.
Because if I had a doctor in front of mine, sir, ma'am, excuse me.
Girl. But then like the thing is,
It's a whole P to the H to the D. I don't. Who are you talking to?
but then you also have to be humble and be like, well, dang, I didn't know that. Or okay, right, you're right. I could have did that better. Oh, a grammatical error right there. Okay, yeah, you're right. Let me fix that. Like you're not wearing Teflon.
No,
And criticism gets harder when you think that
no,
anyway, go ahead.
no. I agree. I absolutely agree with that. I'm learning all of those lessons. I am 4 years, 5 years into transitioning out of the classroom. So trust me, when May, June, July hits, I'm like, I'm, I should be on vacation. What am I doing? Why am I on a computer? What's happening?
Exactly. Why am I not working on my book? Why am I not traveling on somebody and being on somebody's beach?
Airplane right now to go somewhere? Like, what's happening? I promise you, I absolutely understand. I think about it every year, and I'm like, why am I not back in the classroom yet?
Exactly.
I think about it all the time. But I wanted to know, making that transition, because you talked about being an educator, of course, and now working in GOV. Um, in most cases, we all know about becoming an ESL teacher as far as being an avenue to living abroad. But how do you make that jump from education, now GOV, within the country? How did that transition happen? Did you connect with someone, or was it something where you just went online and was like, oh, this is a great opportunity, let me sign up for that, or let me send in my resume?
Yeah. Yeah. So well, you know what? I'm not going to try to describe it. I'm going to just share the experience. So
Okay.
basically, there's this value in networking, and I think there's also a value in being your absolute authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
Because um, with me in this particular position, it basically manifested through relationship. So during the time that I was working on my PhD program, I was developing my study. It hadn't even been decided, and I decided that I was going to come to the UAE. So my dissertation study is about teacher migration and understanding why Black American teachers leave the states to go and teach abroad. So that whole idea of teacher attrition, teacher shortage and what is it about, these people that are remaining in the profession, but then seeking other countries to teach in. So I used the UAE as a case study.
Mhm.
And when I was developing this study, I decided to come over and do a pilot study just to kind of, start gauging the networks, and because I had already taught here, it was pretty easy just to kind of tap into, in academic research is community nominators, and they will, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend.
Right.
Oh, it's so easy to find people to interview. um, so it was during that time that I was exposed to the foundation where I work now. And one of my professors actually told me about it. And I was like, well, since I'm going to be in the UAE, I will come and visit you all. And what I did not know at that time was that they had grants, a doctoral grant, specifically for PhD candidates that are doing data collection, some type of research, and they fully fund your, opportunity to come back to the UAE, conduct your study, and provide you with resources like housing, flight, monthly
Right.
stipend, like this very full package that would make my data collection experience very comfortable. So essentially, during that time, 2018, when I'm doing the pilot study, I come to the foundation and I meet, some of the employees, the executive director, and just let them see my face. And this is the research that I'm doing, and that was that. So then I go back to the States. I'm still in Minnesota at this time, and I get to the next point of my PhD study, and then I apply for that doctoral grant. So long story short, I got it.
Right.
And I ended up coming back over here at the end of 2019. So,
Mm.
what was supposed to be my 7 month data collection experience, it was COVID. So, it expanded to a year and a half. And I mean, it was so beautiful because the borders are closing, flights are shutting down, and I'm here. And I'm like, and it was at the same time that George Floyd happened. And here I am at the University of Minnesota. All of
Mhm.
that was
Mhm.
happening in Minneapolis, St. Paul, that whole area. And I'm like, I don't want to go back. And
Right.
the foundation was basically like, okay, well, we can work some things around, this, and this. And it worked out. So instead of staying for 7 months, I stayed for 14. So all of that, finish the study, go back home, and this is the thing why I call it networking, but not networking though. I don't even think networking is sufficient. I'm still in connection with the foundation. I'm still in connection with many of the folks that are here. They know me, they know my work. I'm keeping them informed. I did some workshops, presentations, all this stuff during the time that I was here. And once I got close to finishing the program, I started applying for positions that I was like, no, I don't think I'll apply there. And there were no vacancies. But it was as soon as a person that had been working here for 10 years left, a position opened and I applied for it. And long story short, I got the position, which was scholarships and student programs. So, still that higher education lens,
Right.
and just pretty much external facing though, with connecting with different entities, I'll say, here in Ras Al-Khaimah in the UAE. But even since then, I've transitioned into research. So
Okay.
now I'm in the research department. I'm doing, different types of studies within the region. So many different things, girl. But all of that to say, it really is that power of, like, how do I say it? It is a connection, it is networking, it is something. But at the same time, it's not this cold call of here's my resume, can you hire me for this job? It was molding a relationship,
Absolutely.
not necessarily with one person, but just like with that entity. Like, here's, I don't know, it's like an exchange. And then when it
Yeah.
was time to apply, it's like, oh yeah, we know her. We know
And
her.
for unique opportunities. And, sometimes it takes looking at universities, looking at companies. Do they have, charitable arms a part of their organizations? Like, there are different avenues to get abroad that you don't necessarily have to be in education. Sometimes you just have to find that, unique opportunity. You have to continue networking, connect with people, find
Yeah,
community, look like where you want to go and what you want to do, and are doing things similar. Might not be exactly, might be adjacent,
exactly.
but we don't know who knows who, right? So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And the interesting part, Bree, so when I was applying for jobs, I decided at that point that I wasn't coming back abroad. I decided that, right? So they say, tell God your plans, they'll laugh at you. So I was like, no, I want to grow roots. I'm staying in America. And girl, I know I applied, goodness, for over 40 jobs, you know? And it was just like cold and quiet and crickets and nothing. I mean, in academia, in government, I remember this beautiful, beautiful position to oversee the Peace Corps. And you would be like this regional director, connecting with all these different ambassadors and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's me. That's me.
Tiffany,
Girl,
why are
I
we the what when I tell you I stalked the Peace Corps on you, you job, I stalk
Girl, but look, this was literally me applying to many government jobs, like even to the point there was a character program for the military, I mean, some cool opportunities. Um, but essentially, even though I'm hired under the government of Ras Al-Khaimah, do you know that I'm in so many rooms with American ambassadors? Like,
Mm.
although we didn't come into the same door, we're all in the same room.
Y'all need to check her Instagram out, okay? It's okay. My friend,
I know what you talk about too.
my friend, y'all need to just check my friend Instagram, okay? I promise you, when I saw some of the videos that you put up, I was like, not my friend, yes. I was so excited.
Man.
I was like, I just remember the conversations you having of the things that you wanted to do, and us just talking about, like, how do we live these, these intercontinental lives that we want to live, and when I saw you in rooms with like ambassador and sheiks, I was like, not with the sheiks, yes. I showed every person that was around me. I was like, this is my friend, not together, but in Morocco at the same time. Very excited.
Girl.
And I was like, yes, walk into those rooms. I love it. Knock the doors down. Let them know I am here. Hello. So I love seeing that. So y'all please go and take a look at her Instagram, and we'll get to all of that real quick before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Abroad in education.
Yes.
Let's
Oh,
talk
my
about
baby.
let's talk about it.
My baby. OMG. So abroad in education. So in it, okay. And this is good. This will be good for me because right now she's going through a little renovation
Okay.
because there's a Broad in Education LLC and there's a Broad in Education, the podcast. So my baby is the podcast, and she has been being developed since 2018. And basically, Abroad in Education is on a mission to discover roots through conscious conversations about EdPats. And everybody's familiar with this term expatriate, but EdPats are educational expatriates that work in schools outside of their home country. So whether it's higher ed, K through 12, basically on the podcast, I'm bringing together or bringing forth these voices of folks who are working abroad, specifically in education, for them to just talk about their stories, their experiences, and exactly what you said, Bree. Just if you're interested in becoming an EdPat, if you're interested in being entertained, if you're looking for resources on how to navigate this journey, like it's a portfolio of stories for you to kind of filter through. So that's the amazing part. Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it. And I'm actually working on season 5. Okay, yes, I'm going to say it. Y'all better not steal my idea either, because even if it's stolen, you can't do it like me. Okay. But
Right. Keep
season
it under.
5,
We need to keep it under wraps.
no, I'm excited about it. I'm
Okay.
excited. So I'm calling it the Avant Garde EdPat series.
Okay.
And what I'm doing is highlighting edpats that have created these professional and careers. So you're a teacher and I have met some amazing folks that I'm like, you still teaching? And you got nightclubs sold out with thousands of folks, but you still a PE teacher?
Correct. Yeah.
You are owning this restaurant, but you still teach it. So I just think it's fascinating how people are just playing with the life. So that's going to be season 5. Um, Abroad in Education LLC is kind of focusing on Dr. Tiffany Lachelle Smith. So I have a portfolio of a portfolio of workshops, of different things that I offer when it comes to navigating the international landscape, I'll say. So if you go to abroadeducation.com, I have a services tab where you can kind of see some of the things that I offer, which is podcasting workshops, workshops to, come in front of a classroom to talk about, whether it's organizational behavior, organizational leadership, teacher attrition, like all of these beautiful things that I'm interested in just yapping about. I offer those workshops and talks. So all of this is becoming this experience now. So go to abroadeducation.com and just play around.
I love it. She has her own podcast. She is working for the GOV in Ras Al-Khaimah. Am I saying that
Mm.
correctly?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Not what I was saying before you told me how to pronounce it. I think I was saying like Rasalima. I definitely was not saying Russell. So
Okay, you gave it a whole nother name, Bree. Now.
I, I, and I'm sorry. I deal with names that sound very similar to that all day long. I should have known better, but I did. She has been she has been featured in Travel Noir, um,
Amen. Yes.
and she's been featured in several other podcasts. I just love the mobility of your career. I'm loving this word mobility. You've I love that you haven't stopped growing. And I love that you've taken
Amen.
opportunity and turned it into something even better. And it's amazing to watch my friend go from being this amazing teacher to now businesswoman to in consultant soon, if not already,
Amen.
and speaker. And it's amazing to watch. And I hope I still get to continue to watch and to be a part of this experience that you are creating for yourself. And I love to see it, Tiffany. I'm so glad to have you today on the
Amen.
Reset Project. Before we get out of here tonight for me, in the morning for you, um,
Hmm.
to the person who is sitting on the fence of I want to move abroad, whatever profession, whatever thing that it is that they want to do, but they're sitting on the fence for whatever reason. Like, what can you say to them to say like, hey, to tell them to try one more time or to actually give it a try?
Ooh, Bree, that should be a very easy question. It should be a very easy question. But even in my mind, I'm all over the place.
No,
You
I
know,
understand.
yeah. I figure so where I am right now, maybe a couple of years back, I probably wouldn't have this response, but where I am right now, I would say find an opportunity, get in the door, and
Mm,
perfect it as you're experiencing it.
mm,
Especially if it's in education. Education is so transient. I mean, you got folks that, are hired at one school that gets you in the country, and then the school is not okay, so they go to another school, go to another school. Somebody's in Abu Dhabi, they prefer to live in Dubai. Somebody's in Dubai, they prefer to live in Ras Al Khaimah. Like it's that transient and specific to UAE, but anywhere. I say find an opportunity that would allow you to at least leave the States. And then once you're out of the States and building your educational career, perfect it. like decide what it is that you want to experience in that. Um, when it came to me going to Morocco, and I think this is, I don't know if I've shared this with you, Bree. I went to the University of Northern Iowa's recruitment fair. I don't know if they still have it, but it's an international recruitment fair that's hosted by the University of Northern Iowa. And my grandmother and I went there in the dead of winter. So I found out that when there's snow on the ground in Iowa, they don't use salt, they use sand. And sand ain't doing nothing, okay? Girl, I'm like, y'all up here playing, knowing y'all cold. Anyway, all of that to say, over one weekend, I had like six different interviews, Bree, with
Mm,
educational heads. So
okay.
Venezuela, Japan, like all of these different countries, that had vacancies. And we're in this hotel and we're just, kind of negotiating a hire. Morocco
Yes.
picked me. I didn't pick Morocco. I had no intent. I didn't even know where Morocco was when I got that first position. And literally, this is the universe conspiring. At that time, I was working in Moro, Illinois, Moro. And then
Uh,
I got hired to go to Morocco, Morocco. And I had that blog from Moro to Morocco for a while. And it was just like, I didn't know that this country existed before I was offered, that opportunity to teach there. So I think all of that to say, don't try to plan it to the point where it's like, oh, I can only go here. I can only go here. No, find an opportunity, get into this international school market industry and perfect it for what you want it to be. But that emotional impulsive decision making, that would be a good opportunity where it's a positive.
let me say this. I remember applying to the school in Morocco. When I got the call, I was like, how y'all get my information? Because they called me
Yeah.
email. Usually you would have gotten an email, this is X, Y, and Z. Like, no. He called me on my phone. I was like, who is this? Because I was at where I was working from the house. And I was like, Morocco, I don't even know. Who are you? How did you get my resume? I don't
See,
remember
yeah.
into this at all. Have no clue. But I want to say, I feel like those three are perfect. Find an opportunity, get in the door,
Yeah.
perfect, get clear on what it is that you truly want from it. I love that. I feel like that's straight, plain, simple. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have everything figured out. I don't know anybody that has gone abroad that had everything figured out and it worked like
Right.
that. Child, it don't work like that.
Yeah.
It does
And
not work
if it does work like that, something's wrong. Something is wrong.
like that. Because I mean, I know nobody's story that sounded like that because mine was like this and went downhill in 20 days, and I was
Exactly. Folks come over here searching for a dream and then they escaping in the night like, I'm gonna just go back home. Look, it's because you had a plan in mind. Stop planning, just come.
just I don't want to say have low expectations, but that first assignment I had, which was Korea, I did not I didn't have like very high expectations. I can't say that I had much at all. I had done my research, so I knew what I was kind of walking into, but I don't feel like I could have been let down by anything. And,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
and by not having like super high expectations, I feel like I allowed myself to just experience.
Yeah.
And I think that really changed that really changed that experience for me. So I agree with you. Like, find what it is you want to do and then perfect it. Don't necessarily try to be perfect and figure everything out all in the beginning. So, if you are somebody that is looking to go abroad to become an educator, number one, I will definitely tell you to check out Abroad in Education. You can, Tiffany, where can they find you? Where can they find all this information?
Everywhere. Abroad in education on IG. I think it's,
Yes.
well, me and Facebook, we just have an entertainment relationship. abroadeducation.com, abroad_in_ed on Twitter. And just Google Tiffany Lachelle Smith.
Come on. Don't forget the doctor.
Dr. Tiffany.
I love it. This is my friend. I love you so much for doing this.
I love
This
you too.
you. This is a Resettle project where we talk about different experiences of life traveled to different countries. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next time.